if you have questions, please raise your hand.
Yeah, please feel free to stop me, okay? Because this is a somewhat informal lecture. I want you to interact, have some interaction with you. So if any question, please stop me anytime.
So any questions about the interaction of the three philosophies for? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Are there any conflicts between the three?
Okay. No. Okay. Well, strictly no. Okay. Well, because now, for example, in the Taoism, they talk about there's some slight conflict. Okay. For example, Confucianism very stress on different code of morality, different code of behavior. If you belong to certain class, then you should behave in a certain way. But Taoism is well known that those are man-made rules, and we should not be too serious about those because they are subject to change. So in that sense, there's some.
I stopped it.
But doesn't mean that the Taoism do not have to comply with the rule. It just says
it'll show up. It'll show up in the.
But Confucius is very conscious of those rules because so when you are a student to a teacher, then you have to pay tremendous respect to the teacher. I mean, regardless. Okay. But well, we should, right? But the Taoist people is a little bit skeptical. You know, the rules are. For example, the Taoists always laugh at people like. For example, why we have a Mother's Day, Father's Day, for example. Okay, well, the logic behind Father's Day, Mother's Day is a day to celebrate our parents, right? So it's important to have a day. But on the flip side of the coin is, no, we shouldn't do that. Why? Because you should respect your father, your mother every day. Why you designate a day to respect your parents? Because if you do that, then it diminishes the importance of the parents. So having a day is really bad because you're good for your parents on one particular day and then you're lousy. Okay, on the other day, that's not good. So in a sense, the Taoism is very skeptical on certain well-defined rule because once you comply to well-defined rule, then you ignore the other things, which is not good. Right? So in that sense, there's a conflict. Right? But I think the conflict is not that critical.
Yeah, another question over there, somebody?
Yeah.
It was the same question. Same question.
Okay. So thank you for that question. It's an interesting question. And okay, I want to give you some background about the East and West. And in a sense, they're very similar, but in some sense different. In the West, I think we always assume that a God exists, right? I mean, for whatever reason, there's a God exists, right? And God is the driver of everything, right? Because God creates human beings, God created earth, right? According to the Bible, right? And so God is the creator, right? He's the creator of everything. We don't know why God created us. We have no clue, okay? But we assume for some reason, right? But itself is, but the question here has been in Western philosophy is being raised is then if God created us, then He has the ultimate goal. Then how we explain evil, right? That kind of thing. It's been that question raised, and then we invent so-called the free will concept. That because human being can decide on their own, so if we commit evil, it's not God's fault; it's our fault, right? So that's the basic concept to explain why evil exists. Okay, so but that kind of but anyway, the idea is in the Western philosophy we always have God exists, and then how our behavior can be explained, our relationship with God, right? So that's in the East the same thing. Okay, for some reason God exists with human beings. We don't know when, but there's a document in Chinese history that talking about coexistence between God and human beings. And then there's a gap in the history that we don't know what happened. They disappear later on. We don't know. But in the West, of course, they know because God go to the mountain, right, top of the mountain, because they're angry with human beings. And then after that, they're even angry because even though we can go up to the mountain to see God, they're still angry because we still committed some evil things, right? So God left us, right? So I mean that's the story. And but in the China, there's one period that God and human beings live together, and then there's a gap in between. We don't know what happened when they left. Okay, so that is a so the question is how to bridge the gap. How to communicate with God, and so that we have a book called I Ching. Okay, I Ching is a book that because the only one who knows the I Ching is the king, the ruler, because the ruler and all his people and his followers, okay, those special group of people can interpret the I Ching and then can communicate with God. Okay, so that's the bridge. And so in Chinese philosophy, we do not, even Confucius, do not necessarily agree that God created human beings. We just assume it coexists together. Okay, we assume it coexists. We don't know which caused which. Okay, and then clearly in the Buddhism is in Buddhism, right? Also, Buddhists do not assume God created human being. We always assume that human beings are part of God. You are God. You are part of God.